G'day, Jack. I'm just having a look at your essay now, mate. A few things I'd probably pick you up on. First of all, your introduction. Um, you don't really introduce your core text here, five bells. There's no capital letters anywhere. Remember the Titans haven't got capital letters. So really big thing is just you know get your little things right in terms of your capital letters and in introducing texts and so forth. Um, that's a big thing, right? And I think we dealt with that a lot last year, so I really get you to focus on that. Five bells here. Look, I find that your discussion of identity here, it's not too bad, but I think you're talking around the issue. So the issue that I'm picking up is that James and Ellie have got a relationship and it's all fallen apart. And you mentioned the Harbour Bridge and the whole Sydney thing, but you're not really nailing their identity. And I think you probably need to pick one character, either James or Ellie, and just say the person is this, and these are the choices that person has made, or this is the context that person lives that informs on who they are and their identity. So you can certainly talk about all these sort of things, but her teacher's firm calves and this sort of stuff. Like, it's not really heavy hitting stuff. I think you really need to get a bit deeper into these characters and find out who the hell they are. I think the Sydney thing's important. That's their context. So I think you can certainly talk about how their context or their city affects who they are, but you probably need to go further than that. I think remember the Titans is a stronger paragraph here. You're talking about Coach Boone and the discrimination, the racism within the movie, and you have to probably. I think you probably need to go a bit further into the time frame, right? And the fact that this was a period of enormous social change in America. Talk about the fact that it's the '60s. But I think you do well in saying that, this bit here, Coach Boone eventually develops his team's identity as one of a team who doesn't discriminate where you're from. So in other words, identity can be developed is what you need to evaluate. You say, right, well, what I think here is that identity is something that can be changed and can be developed by the choices of people within an organisation, and run that line. What you've got is search for identity is complex, ongoing because he's an African American. Now, really, I mean, search for identity is complex, ongoing. Like, you're sort of talking around the issue. I think you need to sort of say this is the identity of these guys, like the Coach Boone and the Titans themselves. The identity that these guys create is a choice that most of them make to be part of a team that doesn't discriminate. And then you can get back into the movie and talk about the evidence. And I don't think you've got a lot of evidence here in terms of film technique. You could talk about the importance of music and the fact that that's something that brings these guys together because they develop that dance and the songs that they sing together. That's a really powerful technique within the movie. All right. So things like that really sort of highlight the building identity of the group. I think you should really focus on here. I think what you've got here is pretty good, but you could do better. I like this paragraph here where you're comparing. Remember, the Titans are five bells of characters that are complex, ongoing identities, which each of the three characters have to deal with. All three characters are met with challenges. I mean, what you're saying here is nothing it's nothing major. You're talking around it. You're not really nailing it and saying, the film, remember, the Titans really is about a group of young men developing a group identity. Okay. And with five bells, you could say something that the fact that, Ellie and James's identity has been very much caught up with each other, and then that falls apart. Like, you can talk about the notion again of group identity here in terms of being a couple, I imagine, right? Although I haven't read that book. So look, I think you need to go a bit farther with your evidence from both texts, a few more techniques and pieces of evidence, maybe even quotes. this introduction needs to be redone because one, it hasn't got any capital letters anywhere, and two, it doesn't actually introduce 5 bells. All right, so make sure you do that. And that's about it, mate. I think those two things, if you can add a bit more evidence and get your structure right in terms of your intro, the thing will be a fair bit longer. Okay. All right. Thanks, Jack.